The next major job was to lower the two runner stones back down onto their axles, making sure the bearings were correctly engaged. These runner stones weigh approximately 1 ton and have a diameter around 50 inches. Needless to say, the main concern is for trapped fingers and toes. The Derbyshire gritstone was the first to be lowered. A chain ratchet is attached to a hook on the ceiling beam. A green harness is threaded through the eye of the stone and is attached to the chain ratchet. Slowly, the stone is hoisted off the wedges on the floor and pushed over towards the bed stone.
Keep that as tight as we can here now. We've got to get bottom in, and then as it wants to do a bit more so. Or you pump the edge of the stone.
Again, slowly, the runner stone was laid down onto the bed stone while checking the alignment to make sure the two parts of the bearing would meet.
Keep that mud in. Get that other way in that other side. That side we don't want to see now.
To stop the stone swinging away from the runner stone, wedges and feet were applied to the bottom edge.
Let's go a bit lower then, and then that's it. You're doing fine. Go for it now.
Come on, Craig.
Pushing a little bit.
Whoa. Give me that back. Give me it back. Hold on. Put your finger. Just there, that's it, that's it. No, don't go under. Just cut this off there. Right. Where's it?
Put your wedge back in. Put your wedge back into it.
No, go on, go on. Is it slide down in a minute. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Eventually, it was laid flat and its bearing fell into place.
Take that strap. Oh, gone.
You get the strap out.
Take that out. Slack off.
Alice.
Slack off. Whoa, whoa. Go on, you're
Alright.
Take it out. That's it, slack off.
The same procedure was used for the French Burr stone. Now both runner stones are located on their respective bed stones. The tons have to be replaced around them. But first the dolly, which gathers the flour and brings it round to the output chute, had to be screwed back onto the French Burr runner stone. Here it is now in place. Next, the ton was lowered over the stone, making sure it was correctly seated so no flour could leak out round its base.
So I was expecting fingers to go. Head back again now.
Then the damsel mechanism is put in place. Followed by the shoe.
Sorry. Stuck it on your face.
The upper wooden frame is next to be placed on top of the ton. This frame will hold the stone's feed hopper. Placing the feed hopper on the frame completes the ton assembly for the French Burr stones. The same procedure was repeated for the Derbyshire grits. With the tons, hoppers and shoe mechanisms reinstalled on both sets of stones, the next thing to do is to bed in the French Burr stone and produce some flour ready for the opening of the mill in February. When stones have been cleaned, they will not mill successfully until a layer of fresh flour is deposited on the bed stone. This laying down of flour is called bedding in the stones. On the 31st of January, a delivery of grain arrived. The grain in 20 kilogram sacks is brought into the mill. It is sent up to the bin floor, the top floor of the mill, using the sack hoist. The water wheel is the source of power for the hoist. Each sack goes through 2 sets of trapdoors. It is operated by the miller on the bin floor. Once all the grain has been lifted, the bedding in process can begin. The miller lowers the French Burr stone pinion gear so that it meshes into its crown gear.
Well, you're lucky out, is that or not? Yeah, that just dropped in.
Just snuck by it.
Then tightens it onto the axle.
Yeah. Take it away.
The French Burr stone feed hopper is already full of conditioned wheat. Conditioning is the dampening of the wheat so that it mills correctly. Some grain has already been put on the shoe, as can be seen here. The miller lowers the French Burr runner stone down using the tendering mechanism until it rests on the bedstone. This is a good reference position from which the stone can then be raised to a known starting position for milling. The accelerator curtain is lowered to allow water to reach the wheel, and hence the wheel will start to turn. The miller adjusts the gap between the stones to try and find the optimum. Because the stones are clean, they do not mill well. In fact, all that happens at this stage is grain rolls between the stones, lifting the runner stone up slightly, and then as it is crushed, the stone suddenly drops, causing a juddering sound and stalling the stone. Gradually, a layer of partially milled grain is laid down on the bedstone, and the stones settle down to a more even milling. Here you can see the grain falling off the shoe into the eye of the stone. At this stage, the output is very poor and rough. As can be seen. Slowly this changes until smooth flour is produced. At this stage, the bags are changed. After a few hours of milling, a stock of flour is produced ready for the opening of the mill.